and went to Europe for 2 months and just backpacked around and just saw things. I'm thinking, God, that's such a good idea. You know, I would go, that's really. Sometimes it was just a little idea. I go, why don't we do that? And so over the years, I've just always thought, I've always had this. Why don't we do that? That seems like a smart idea. And then when I got stopped on the street, I was in Washington, D.C. a few years ago, and for some reason the Minister of Education was there going into the hotel that I was coming out of. And she stops me and she says, you know why Finland is ahead of the United States in education? And I said, no, why? We got rid of homework. As long as you do well in school, you know, get decent grades, you get to go to college. And you get to go to college for free in most of those countries, or next to free. You know, it might cost $500 a semester. And even if it's a private school, the fact that you are paying, I would think, either the highest tuition in the country, if not second highest next to NYU, this is just wrong. And we've got to come up with a better system, because what I don't want the students to do is that when you graduate, to suddenly feel like you're in some sort of prison with shackles on you, and you've got to go take a job now that you're not going to like because you've got to start paying off these student loans. You know, you should have a couple of years to do nothing if you don't want to do anything, or go fall in love, or explore the world, or do whatever. But you're going to have to start paying back $100,000 plus in student loans, and I don't think any 22-year-old should have that on their neck. And frankly, I'm afraid that we won't get the next great invention or the next great cure or the next great whatever, because you're too worried about paying off your student loan as opposed to going out and inventing, exploring, you know, coming up with that next great thing. And problems in Italy, actually lots of problems in all those countries. We weren't making a film about Europe or about those countries, and plus it'd be weird, especially the way that we've treated the world in the last decade or so, for an American to come in pointing his finger going, now, you need to fix this, and you shouldn't be like that. And it's like, you know, we need to be in the timeout room, not how they should be living. So that would come off really weird. I think it's just what I said it is. It's like, you know, I wouldn't want them to not take a good American idea, and we have many of them. I wouldn't want them to not take one of our ideas, because we literally have a mass shooting now every day in the United States. There's an average of more than an average of one mass shooting, meaning 4 or more people are shot every single day in the U.S. And I wouldn't want somebody there going, well, you know, I'm not using this iPhone, you know, that comes from America because they got a mass shooting every day. Well, that makes no sense. If it's a little out of focus sometimes, or the camera's jiggling or whatever, you know, the audience has learned to deal. It's okay. If they can't hear it clearly without having to work at hearing it, you're doomed. So it's the sound that carries the story, not the picture. So you've got to really make sure you've got great sound. That's the one technical thing I would say to you. The other thing is that if you want to make documentaries now, you just make them from your heart, and don't make the same old film you've seen on PBS or HBO or whatever. Make something that's dangerous. Make something that's subversive. Make something where when you tell your friends you're thinking of making a movie about X, they go, whoa, no way. It should sound like, your pitch should sound like your life is in peril. And then go make that movie. I want to see that movie. I want to see something fresh and new, something I haven't seen before. Don't tell me something I already know. I know that nuclear weapons are bad. Don't make a documentary about nuclear weapons. I get it, they're bad. You know, tell me something I don't know. I believe initially a film should be able to make its money back and pay people and all. I'm all for that. But after that point, I mean, I just think as soon as I'm able to get my films back, I'm going to just make them available, because I actually, whenever a film one of mine gets put up on the internet, I never seek to take it down. So I mean, I think you should see the theater. I made it for a big movie theater. I made it for you to see on that big screen. But I don't ever think information should be not shared. So if you find footage you want, use it. What are they going to do? You're a 20-year-old student. Here's the song you like, put the song in. My first film, I put all this music in my first film. I didn't have any rights to it or anything, because I knew my job was to make a great film. By putting the music in that I wanted to put in without getting permission, I just gave myself permission because I wanted to make a great film. Warner Brothers saw that movie and bought it. And then and part of the deal with Warner Brothers is they had to go get permission and pay for the music. So that's what you should be thinking about. Just say to yourself, Warner Brothers is going to pay for this later. It's like, so don't make a documentary is what I'm saying. Make a movie. Make a movie. Nobody says to Scorsese, are you making a fiction film? Nobody calls Scorsese a fictionitarian. He's a filmmaker. You're a filmmaker. You can tell your story with fiction or nonfiction. You decide, but you're a filmmaker. Make a movie. Make something people want to see on a Friday night. They're going to take a date. I have two signs in my edit room that I post on the bullet board. One sign says, "When in doubt, cut me out." A little bit of me goes a long way, and I'm well aware of this. And the other sign says, "Remember that people want to go home and have sex after this movie." Like, don't ruin date night. They're sitting there for 2 hours watching a documentary, and they feel the wagging finger of the director. You must know this. You must feel this. Feel the pain. It's like you're sitting there going, "Oh, man, this date is over." These teenagers have never heard that word. You're giving me an R rating because I showed drug usage in Portugal without consequences or punishment. And you're giving me an R rating not because a naked woman was getting in the jacuzzi in Germany, but a naked man was getting in the tub. And the penis. And I tried to. They watched the movie, and I showed them. I said, "Now look at that penis. That is not an angry penis." I said, what I said to them was, I said, listen, I'm showing people in their 50s naked getting into a jacuzzi. A 16-year-old is not looking at 50-year-olds when they're naked and going, "Oh, wow." They're going, on the day after San Bernardino, the U.S. Senate voted on a gun law to prohibit the sales of guns to those who are on the terrorist watch list. In other words, the ones that the government says can't fly. But the NRA has lobbied and has made it legal so that those who are on the terrorist watch list can buy guns. So this law was to stop that. Every single Republican, except for the senator from Illinois, voted to keep it so that the people on the terrorist watch list can buy guns. How sick is that? It's I don't know what to say here. I keep making these movies. I must be a really weird optimist to think that they matter. I mean, I've seen some changes occur. I try to warn people about things, and then I see it does get better sometimes. I started talking about the 99% and the 1%, 2 films ago. Then it became part of the lexicon. A film I made back in the 90s, there was a scene in there about Nike making their shoes in Indonesia with 12-year-olds in the factories. That resulted in Nike changing their policy that you had to be 18 to work in the factories. Some great movies. We want to see a great movie.
We saw a great one today.
So much. Telling me I've got to go here. So, has Coke seen the movie? No, they haven't seen the movie yet. That was amazing. You know, and that's another example that wasn't scripted. I just wanted a Coke, and they didn't have a goddamn vending machine at this school. So my assistant had to run into town to get me a Coke, and she brought it back, and I just had it there on the table. And I felt, oh, I should share it with these kids, and these kids were like, no. And I went, oh my God, this is so hilarious. I'm trying to keep a straight face. But again, it's one of those happy accidents that happen when you're making a documentary, that you don't get yourself in so tight to the script. Let things happen, and that was a great scene. I can't wait for Coke to see